Hey guys, we're back again one more time to show you just some basics of how to actually build Jamboards for your students and just do a lot of different collaborative things in class with your students and even assign individual Jamboards to students. One of the things I want to show you, which is really cool for virtual learning, is if your school's like ours, we've used Google Meets for any kind of virtual learning. Even, for example, this year, some of my AP students, whenever they would be out because they were sick, not necessarily that they were virtual, but they were sick and couldn't come to school, they still wanted to join in, so we would use Google Meets. If you're on Google Meets and you click the three buttons here that say more options, you can actually open a jam right here in Google Meets. So this is an opportunity for kids to collaborate together at a distance, which is really cool. But I'm going to share my screen with you again and show you just some basics of the different tools you can use whenever you're using Google Jamboard with your students. So I'm going to come right here. I already have Jamboard open on my tab, so I'm just going to bring it up. And you can see these are all the jams owned by me. Now I can click up here to the right where it says owned by me, and I can look at owned by anyone or not owned by me. So for example, if I click owned by anyone, it actually brings up some additional Jamboards that I've looked at recently. But I'm going to come back to owned by me. And I'll come back and show you some of these different templates that I have. But let's just say I want to start a brand new Jamboard. So all I have to do is click the plus sign down at the bottom right, and a new jam will come up. Right now it's untitled, so I'm just going to change it to sample jam. And this automatically gets saved in my Google Drive, so there's nothing I have to do to save it. It's already going to be there. So just some different tools you can use. The first thing you can do is you can set the background. You can have it white like this for just a whiteboard. You can come here. There are dots, so kind of like graphing paper. There's lined paper. There's grids. You can change the color of the grid. Then there's just a blue or a black for like a blackboard, or you can even bring in an image. So for example, you can upload an image that you have. You can search by URL, or maybe I just want to do a Google search. Let's say I really want to bring in an image in my U.S. history class for Manifest Destiny. So I'll click that and I can add this, and now this is my background. And if I decide, no, I don't want that, I can just click clear frame or back, and it would go back and change it, or I can just click the white one again. Now some other tools over here on the side, you'll see the toolbar. This one is the pen. So of course you can write here. If you have a touch screen, you can write here. And again, you could change the color as well. So you can change the thickness. There's a marker, highlighter, a brush for painting. Then of course, there are just some built-in colors that you could use as well. So I'm going to clear the frame from that. Here's the eraser. So if I've made some mark, of course, I can come and erase it. Or if I want to take everything off, I'll just clear frame. Here's the pointer. So of course, if you're not wanting to actually edit anything, but you're wanting to point things out, you would use that. Here's one of my favorite ones, and this is sticky notes. So I want to add a sticky note. This is really fun. Like, let's say I wanted to have a parking lot in my class. If you've heard of that before, it's a place where at the end of the lesson, students will usually have a physical sticky note, and they'll write an observation they had, or they'll write a question that they still have. And, as teachers, sometimes it's hard to go over to that parking lot every day and provide students enough sticky notes to be able to do it, but actually pull them off and look at them. Well, if you do it digitally, how easy is that, right? So I may just say something like, write down any questions you have. Okay, and I can save it here. And of course, I can make it larger. And now when this is shared with students, again, it can be shared with up to 50 students at a time. Whenever they're on this, they can add their own sticky notes. So maybe they don't want to do yellow ones. They can come here and change the color. Maybe they want to do green ones. Here's my question, whatever. So the sticky note is a pretty useful tool here on Jamboard. So I'm going to clear the frame. Here I can add an image. So maybe I'm wanting to do some kind of analysis with my students, and I want to bring up a picture. So a lot of times I might do a Google image search. So I might do, let's see, famous photo from the Dust Bowl. We'll see what comes up. Okay, for example, this is one of a really famous photo from the Dust Bowl that we analyze in U.S. history. So I could add it here for my students, and I could add a sticky note, or I could come here to the T and add a text box and say, add a sticky note with your observations or something like that. Of course, I can resize this, make it larger, that kind of thing. And the cool thing is, if you notice up here at the top, I can add as many pages in the Jamboard as I want. So it really can be an endless digital whiteboard. So let's say I want to create a new frame. So here I'm going to say, add your sticky note observations here. And I'll just reframe it. So when students see this, they can go to the next page to add their sticky notes. And again, 50 students can work on this at a time. So everyone in my class can be adding a sticky note observation. Now, if I really want to, if I want to reorder this, I can just click in the middle where it says expand frame bar, and I can actually drag and change the order if I would like to of the different frames. So again, I'm going to clear the frame. I'm going to come here and clear the frame as well. Okay, here are circles. So let's say I could possibly make like a Venn diagram or something. I can add the circles. I can actually change the colors or the shapes here. So if I want to do a square, so maybe instead I want to do a square and I want to create some kind of graphic organizer. So now I have all of these options for my students with a graphic organizer with the different shapes. Maybe I want to create some kind of vocabulary word wall or word window where I have 4 boxes where they're telling me the definition, finding an image to go with it that they can bring in from the web themselves on Jamboard, or real life examples or something like that. That would be really cool. And I can do that using these shapes. So again, and that can be done in any classroom, any content area, and really any level as well. So again, if I want to duplicate this, I can click on these 3 dots here, duplicate, delete. So I'm just gonna come and delete them. And then of course I've already shown you the text box, and then here's a laser pointer. So if I have something and I'm trying to point it out, I use the laser pointer and then it goes away. So again, just pretty cool, pretty useful to see all the different things that you can do on Jamboard. Now, one of my favorite things, and I'm going to go back here, I'm going to click on the J for Jamboard Home. One of my favorite things I found in all of my research of Jamboard is that there are already some ready-made templates that you can get for free from all kinds of websites. I use a website called Ditch That Textbook, and I found a ton of templates. So I'm going to go through and show you some of them. So for example, this is one that I may use for student reflection. So it's called Glows and Grows. And so, I can duplicate this frame. Like right now, it's just on 2 frames, but what's cool is I can have my students say, okay, from this unit, I want you to list one thing that you felt like you did a really good job at, and then one area that you need to grow. I'm not sure about at your school, but at our school, student reflection is really important. And sometimes it's kind of hard to get students to reflect on their own learning. And this is a fun way to do that in a collaborative way. And so, of course, I would probably just say, hey, put a sticky note on here. So the students would have this link, and it could be an individual one if I want them to just reflect by themselves. And, if they don't want to see what other students are saying, or if I want it to be collaborative, I would share this link maybe on my Google Classroom and let students edit it all at once, and they could add a sticky note. Here's where I'm doing really well this unit. Here's where I really need to grow, or what I'm struggling with. So that one's a pretty cool template. Let's see, a couple more. So you can kind of just look some different things. Here's like a Venn diagram template I found. Here's a mind mapping template I found. Here's a digital poster template. So of course, any of these that you're using, you can go in and change it and personalize it for the students. This one's pretty cool, a top 10 list. If you're having students, rate things, they can put it here in the top 10 list. This is one of my favorites in AP US government. Even in US history, we do a four corners activity a lot. And so let's say it's digital instead of actually physically getting up and moving to the corner. This is a way to do it. So I might give students a question, move to whichever corner if you agree with A, B, C, or D. And so instead of actually physically moving, they could, put a sticky note on here with their name. And whoever's in A may get together and collaborate. Whoever's in D may get together and collaborate. Or this could be a cool way to choose groups, right? If you just want something different, ask students a question, A, B, C, or D, wherever they put their name. Hey, all right, you're now in a group together. That would probably be kind of surprising to them, which is sometimes good, especially for high school students, to keep them on their toes. Let's see. This one's a what's your opinion? So you could use sticky notes with it. You type the question in the middle. Some different things for like annotating text. This one I found, which I know in AP US government, we read a lot of Federalist papers. So all you've got to do is change this text out right here. And you can see over here different boxes that students can do for questions or for highlighting. So again, just all kinds of really cool free templates that are out there that you can use with your kids, which I think will, give them a little bit of variety, but they're able to collaborate together at the same time, which is really cool. Now I'm going to show you a couple that I've made myself. So for example, this is one that I've created just for AP government. So in one of the other videos, I showed you guys how to bring things in using the Jamboard app, bring things in from your Google Drive. And so I wanted my students to collaborate and work on writing thesis sentences for the FRQ that they have to write on their AP government exam. So I created this Jamboard. I literally just did 2 sticky notes. I made them big. I gave them directions. And so I was going to put my students in pairs and groups of 2. So this would be shared with them via Google Classroom or via a link. And each student would have their own copy depending on the pair. So if I have 2 students together, they would both have the same link. That's their Jamboard they're going to collaborate on. And the next 2 students, they would have their own individual link, just the 2 of them they're going to collaborate on. So the next page, I'll just click on next frame, and I've got both of the Google Slides that I brought in using the app, and all students have to do is click on the text box. They answer the question. They can both be writing their thesis at the same time, and then they're going to collaborate together. They're going to edit. They're going to make it better, and then the final page of the Jam, this is where they've come together and they're creating a final thesis sentence. So it's pretty simple, but again, it's just a really fun and easy way to have them collaborate digitally and practice some skills that they have to have for my classes. Another one that I created here is for US history. We talk about manifest destiny in US history. And so I was thinking through and doing a few different ideas. So this first one, if I did this one, I would just give it to kids individually. So it wouldn't really be collaborative, but it